Hello, beautiful people. Good morning. Good morning. I'm Ada, and this is Unconventional Counseling. I wanted to kind of give an update and also share some things that I've been recognizing and thinking on in terms of the energy. I wanted to check in. So, if I'm a little shiny, it's because I'm actually feeling pretty sick. And for those of you who've known me for many years, for those of you who know much about me or even a little bit about me, I don't get sick often. It's actually pretty rare that I get sick. So I take heed. I really pay attention when I do, because the way I see it, everything means something, you know? So I've been paying attention to my symptoms. I've been doing a whole bunch of natural remedies because that's where my mind goes first. So I've been feeling progressively better each day, and I've been meditating on what's happening, asking my guides, why am I sick? What is the message that's coming through beyond just my symptoms, and what parts of me to tend to? So every part of the body is also connected to a chakra system. We have a lot of chakras. I think we might have technically hundreds of chakras, but when we're talking about like Reiki and certain energy work, we only talk about 7 of them. The root, the sacral chakra, the solar plexus, the heart chakra, the throat chakra, the third eye chakra, and the crown chakra. And so the root, just as it sounds, is starting at the base of our spine, and the crown chakra, and we're going up through the body, the middle line of the body, up through the crown chakra, which is at the top of the head. And so I've been having heart chakra, throat chakra, third eye chakra sort of experiences during this sickness. And something that I've realized is I'm extremely tired. Like, I am so tired. I don't mean I just need to get a good night's sleep tonight and the next 2 nights. I mean, the pandemic has been going on for 2 years, and before the pandemic was all the BS that we were doing when we were running around like chickens with our heads cut off, as my people say, in that old paradigm where we had to do so much for so little recognition, for so little pay, for so little connection to our bodies, for so little connection to others. Like, you know what I'm talking about. It wasn't cute. It was horrible, mostly. I mean, for me, it was. As an empath, as a sensitive person, I was angry a lot of the time. I was sad a lot of the time. And looking back, some of that wasn't mine. So it was a lot. It was a lot. And to have these past 2 years of getting to slow down, something that I've done, as y'all know, is start my own practice. So I no longer work for anyone. Any terms of communication that we're having, it's all happening through me. I don't have anyone working for me. That may change one day if I decide, but at this point, I kind of like having my hands in everything. It's really soothing any sort of control issues I've ever picked up in this timeline. I control everything. I'm a part of everything, but it's also helping me learn, like, have even more self-love for myself. So that's the journey that I'm on in terms of heart chakra activation, because if I am at the helm of everything and something doesn't get done in a certain timeline, or if I don't follow up with something, or if I forget something and something slips through the cracks, I have me to blame, or I have me to show compassion towards. So it's been a whole journey, and I've really grown a lot in terms of being even kinder to myself and more gentle to myself. And I'm still going, I'm still working. In terms of throat chakra, there is so much that I have to say. There is so much that I have to share. Have to, not must, but have within me. There's so many things that I want to speak on. There's so many things that I want to talk about. And I love talking to y'all each week because I get to tap into one of the many topics that kind of float through my head, and one of the many things that I sense in the world and I see in media, and I get to talk about it with each of you because of where you are on your journeys, your individual and particular journeys, and what's going on for you all. So I'm so grateful to be in this position of being your spiritual counselor, your counselor, because I have Gemini energy, so it's like my mind gets to be used every single day, and I really love that. It brings so much joy and fulfillment, like satisfaction into my life. I love what I do. I love getting to know you all. And I'm tired. I'm real tired. I've been tired for 2 years, been tired maybe for a whole incarnation, but it's catching up to me now, and I'm feeling it in my body. And what this means for me, which I've meditated on, prayed about, sat with, talked to my therapist about, is that I need to take a sabbatical. I need to take a sabbatical. And it is so in alignment with my spiritual journey at this time, because let me tell you a quick story to say why. The place that I used to work, many of you know it. I don't really want to call it out, not because I don't want to name the name, but because this is my thing, and I feel like I'm giving free publicity. Can you tell I'm a Scorpio rising? Can you? I'm like, no. So the organization that I used to work for those of you who know, cool. For those of you who don't know, meh. But I used to work for an organization, and in many ways, they're really dope. I wanted to work with them since I was in grad school, and to get the opportunity to do so, to feel qualified enough to do so, to have the interests that we had clinically and in terms of who we want to serve, the people we want to serve, the people who I serve, queer, Black, trans folks who are on the gender expansive spectrum, who are gender fluid, who are trans or non-binary, agender, folks who are polyamorous, folks who are kinky, who are eccentric, who are spiritualist, who are witchy, who are clairvoyant, who are gifted, who are extremely intelligent, high achievers, overachievers, folks who are recovering from being perfectionists, like just everything. I would say that they didn't serve everybody that I just named. I have a heart for everybody I just named. However, they served some of those folks, some of those groups of people who identify in these ways. And I really enjoyed working there for a number of reasons. And the reason I left was just because it was time. It was time to start my own thing. Mainly. There were some other things, but mainly. So I was close. I had relationships with many people who were there. Some of the people who were co-workers of mine, some of the people who were in leadership, like all different roles within the organization. There are people I was friends with. And so I went for a walk one day with somebody who was in leadership. And so my boss, one of my bosses, I go for a walk one day with one of my bosses, and we're talking, and she asks me, so just, sometimes I think about like what I would do if I wasn't a therapist, like what else I would want to do. And I wanted to ask you, like, what would you want to do if you weren't a therapist? And I turned to her and I was like, oh, I don't dream of working. My dream, I'm just living somewhere, like all expenses paid all year round, like just living a luxurious ass life just because I'm resting. I'm doing creative things because I feel like it when I feel like it, but the majority of my life is to rest. And she was like, I love that, that's amazing, oh my gosh. And then I asked her, and she was like, I would be this job, but now I want to think about what you said. And I was just like, okay. So I've had this tension going on within me. I tell this story to say, I've had this tension going on within me of wanting to not work at all for anyone, doing anything, ever when I don't want to. I just want to lay down and watching TV and rest. And then I have this other part of me who has these really big ideas and loves to dialogue and loves healing and is on this deep, like such a deep spiritual journey and learning so much about myself and about humanity. And I love being in community with people. I love serving people. I love witnessing people. I love being there with y'all. I love learning. So there's this other, and I also like working. So there's this other part of me that's just like, let me get up in it. Let me do all the life stuff. Let's do it all the time. I got Virgo energy too. So let's get in the trenches. Let's get in the nitty gritty. Let's open stuff up. Let's explore. Let's find out. Let's celebrate when we find out. Let's keep going, you know? Hence why me getting sick is a rarity. I've worked since I was 16. I've worked for most of my life. I've worked multiple jobs. I've worked. I like working. I like it a lot. And there's this other part of me that don't want to do it ever. So, long-winded roundabout version of my Cancerian way of saying, I'm gonna take a sabbatical. And because it's led by my spiritual journey, I don't know for how long it's gonna be. I know that it's at least gonna be a month. Then in a month, I'm gonna check in. I know that it's possible it could be 2 months. I know that it's possible it could be 10 weeks. These are all the numbers. Oh, it could also be 6 weeks. These are all the numbers. 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, or 10 weeks. These are all the times I'm gonna be checking in with myself to find out if it's time to return to work or if it's time to work in a very different way than I have been. There are a lot of ideas that I have floating around in my head, and I imagine that having the time away, I'll be able to see and parse through even more of these things that are floating around so that I can communicate more to you. But what this means in the meantime is that for at least 4 weeks, we won't be having sessions. And this will be starting Sunday, March 13th. I don't work on a Sunday, but I'm just saying at the beginning of the week, you know? So on Sunday, March 13th, 30 days, like a clock of 30 days kind of starts. On April 13th, I'll check in with myself. I'll likely draft an email. I will draft an email to all of you and say where I'm at. If I'm gonna go for another 4 weeks, if I'm gonna go for another 6 weeks, or if I'm gonna go for another 2 weeks without having sessions. I'm not closing down my practice, I'm just taking a sabbatical. I'm just resting my eyes and my body. Moving to a completely virtual setup in terms of my practice has been both a dream, but also I miss people in person, but also I can't do having sessions with everybody in person. So I want to also move to a hybrid model. There are a lot of things that I'm thinking about in terms of my practice and what that may mean for you. So in the next 4 weeks, what this means for you is there's some questions that you may need to ask yourself during this time. And for the next, 8-9 days or so, whenever the 13th is, what's today, the 4th? Let me do the math, hold on. 9 days. Did you get it faster? Are you a math whiz? So in the next 9 days, something that I'm gonna do, something that you get to ask yourself is, do I want to wait for 4 weeks and not have a session with Ada and wait until they reach out again and then decide what my next steps are? Do I want to work with a therapist in the meantime? I've been putting some feelers out with some people that I, really respect and love the work of, and I'm seeing who has availability. I'm seeing who spirit brings to me to think about, to reach out to, and see who can support you in the meantime if you want or desire that support. Do you want to take a break from therapy? For the inevitable, until you check in and you see when to come back, I don't know, not based on my timeline. At this time, do you just want to take a break from therapy? Do you want to take a break do you also want to take a sabbatical from doing the depth of the work that you're currently doing? And then you check in with yourself and you know when you want to return to that work. Or do you check in when I check in with you to know when you want to return to that work, There's so many questions, and because there's so many questions, I'm gonna create a little survey. I'm gonna nerd out in terms of how I give this information to you. That's what's gonna happen. You're gonna see all the many ways that I've been getting creative. You're gonna be like, ooh, Ada, look at you making videos. Look at you writing words. Look at this multi-hybrid model of connectivity and relationship and conversation that we have in. I know, it's really awesome, I know. So I'm gonna take a rest. I'm gonna enjoy that rest. Not only because I feel sick right now, but because this world has been sick for a really long time, and I can feel that, and I know many of you, if not all of you, can too. And it's just time to lay down for me. And maybe if you've taken rest during this time, like an extended period, whether that be 2 weeks, 4 weeks, multiple vacations, one vacation that was really beautiful, 6 weeks, whether you had a period of time when you weren't working and maybe that was really stressful in its own ways, but you also really enjoyed the rest that your body and your mind got to get. Whatever. If you've taken rest, I know you get it. I know you're over there like, go Ada, yeah. And I'm just like, thank you. Thank you so much. And if you didn't get a rest during these past 2 years, if you haven't been on a vacation, and a vacation could also be staying at home, not doing nothing, talking to nobody that you don't want to. If you haven't had that in the past 2 years, like a significant amount, kind of like how I'm naming, I've been taking my little weeks and I've really been enjoying those. But if you haven't had like an extended period of time where it was just you with you, or you with a boo, or you with a pet, or you with whomever that is like, they're not gonna add stress, they're gonna add joy. Maybe it's time to also consider if you also need a break too, whether that's from work, whether that's from certain family dynamics, whether that's from a relationship, whether that's from a living situation. Maybe you need a break too. You know, this is a great time to check in. We're in the transition period between winter and spring. We can feel that something new is birthing, something new is arising. This year, the numerology of this year, I'm not even a full-on numerologist, but I just know a 6 year, 222, 246, a 6 year, sixes are they're about balance, but balance that's like building. You're building towards something. In the tarot, you have like the 6 of Swords, where you're moving to calmer waters out of something that was more hostile. In the 6 of Wands, you have that you're having creativity and success and victory. You know, in the 6 of Pentacles, there's a lot of generosity that's happening. You're sharing your resources, people are sharing their resources with you. What else is there? Wands, Swords, Pentacles, Cups. The 6 of Cups, you know what the 6 of Cups is? 6 of Cups is nostalgia, creativity, connecting with your inner child. 6s are great. 6s are beautiful. 6s are balanced. There's something, it's an even number. It feels different than an odd number. There's just something new is happening, and this is brand new for me to realize. I just realized this like yesterday in my own therapy session, having this, I was just like, I'm tired. I have a dope ass therapist just like y'all, you know? So stay tuned. Fill out the survey if I've already made one, if I decided to. Read this blog post if you feel like it, if you're less visual and you want to read it, or if you want to do both, do your thing. Subscribe to these thingies that I'm about to do, like, if you want to. I really don't. If you want to, you know? Share it amongst friends, share it amongst people, if you want to. But know that I have been as well as I can be during this time, also doing my deep spiritual work, my deep soul work, healing, and I'm in a Saturn return, y'all. I'm in a Saturn return. And this is me being pushed out of my comfort zone again and doing something that's strange and odd and out there and unconventional. And these are all the things that I celebrate within y'all. So hopefully you can celebrate with me. And if it feels hard to, if something's activated, if something's coming up, if you get angry, sad, if you miss me, if something's happening, over this next week, we can talk about it if it's present with you. If it's not present with you over the next week, and you want to talk about it when I'm back to work, I'm really looking forward to talking about it with you, truly, because I care about you. All right, I will see y'all over the next week, hopefully. If not, I'll see y'all in the future. Bye.